So what's the Grape Explorer talking about today? Well, I'm in a New York state of mind. Yes, we are going to be talking about a vineyard in New York. Obviously, we live in New York, but I'm going to talk about the past, the present, and the future of vineyards that I have been in contact with or I have had some experience with. We're going to talk about Pindar. And yes, Pindar is in the North Fork. We broke out a bottle here of Cabernet Franc. I'm going to be talking about that particular grape. As we zoom in here on the North Fork, we're going to be talking a little bit about this vineyard and the fact that I had a great chance to meet Dr. Dan, who was the owner here, Dr. Dan Damianos, who's the founder of Pindar, and he found this vineyard in 1979. He purchased 36 acres of land, and at first wines were the Chardonnay, but when I had my company in Florida, one of my friends called up and he said, I've got a friend who's looking to do distribution of Long Island wines in Florida. And of course, I'm like, I didn't know anything about Long Island, but I went out to dinner and of course, that's where I got a chance to meet Dr. Dan. We got a chance to taste his wines. We're talking about well over 25 years ago. I think that, Long Island was really on the cusp, just starting. They said it was the answer to Bordeaux, believe it or not, because of the maritime climate. Now think about the maritime climate that exists here. You've got, all of the maritime breezes here, but the soil composition is very interesting because I've had some friends that say, that Long Island here has long been noted for the earth, and of course there's a lot of, you go to out here, there's a lot of farms, and if you ever want to come and visit an area, you come out to this area, and it's beautiful. You actually feel like you're in another world of New York. You don't feel like New York is part of the scenery. You might be in North Carolina somewhere when you see all these farms and all these people. They're the nicest people in the world. And again, I could have talked about any vineyard in Long Island, Hargrave, Bedell, some of the great names out there. I tasted some of these wines. But I wanted to highlight this because, Dr. Dan was a very charming guy. He was very, very interesting gentleman. Today they're one of the largest producers here, so it's owned by the family. The children are still running the estate. New winemakers come in, so we're going to see some innovation here. But I did have a chance to explore this a little bit because I always felt in Long Island, even 20 years ago when I tasted the wines there, that Cabernet Franc had a chance. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so that doesn't mean that Cabernet Sauvignon is going to compete with Napa Valley. Obviously, Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon is king, and we all know that. But Cabernet Franc is a different grape. It grows in microclimates, like even in the northern Loire Valley, which is a cooler kind of climate, which I think up here in New York, you need grapes that can kind of weather the storm. When I say that, the climate out here is completely unique. You get a lot of wind because we're out here. Obviously, we live in the Barrier Islands here in Long Island, but when you go farther there, you're closer to the Atlantic side too, so you get a lot of that wind, that maritime, like they get in Bordeaux, and Cabernet Franc has a tendency to flourish. So we broke out this here today because I wanted to taste, and I love Cabernet Franc. I adore it. This is one of the staple grapes in Saint-Emilion. So if you ever see some of my other videos, I talk about Saint-Emilion having Cabernet Franc, and it's like the foundation, with Merlot together to make really great wines. But this is 100% Cabernet Franc. So beautiful smells. You're getting all different red fruits, blue fruits. Right off the bat, you get that cedary tone. You get a little bit of that mineral. You get a little bit of terroir that's coming up, and that was what they always felt that Long Island wines, had a chance here to make wines that would have this expression, this little bit of minerality expression to their wines. But, beautiful cedar, this has got some nice tones to it. I think, it just shows me the Cabernet Franc great, because when you drink this wine on its own, you get different characteristics than you get with Cabernet Sauvignon or even Merlot. But this is a beautiful wine just to actually smell. I haven't even tasted it yet, but I'm really getting a lot of that beautiful cedary kind of fruits. You get chocolates, you get all sorts of mint, you get raspberries. Wow, well-balanced fruit. I can taste the mineral content in here, which is actually that stone kind of fruit. which is really interesting. I think a lot of people don't realize that you get these kind of wines. But again, I wanted to bring Long Island wines to the table. Obviously, we're living here in Long Island, and I got a passion. I've been driving out to this area, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful with these vineyards. If you ever get a chance to come to New York, come out here and you see for yourself. These are beautiful vineyards of expression, and Pindar is one of the leading wineries out there. Again, this is a Grape Explorer, always talking about great wines.